Hello, everybody out there. That was kind of a terrible clap, but we're going to go with it for today. The video that I wanted to do today is a video I've been wanting to do for a while, to be 100% honest with you, since almost a year ago, actually. And I originally kind of had challenged myself to see how quickly I could learn a language, or learn a language in quotations, and be conversationally fluent. That was my goal, because I feel like full fluency is something that's going to take you years and years. So people always say, you can be fluent in a language in 30 days. That's what all these apps, programs, people on YouTube and everywhere else will tell you. So, can you learn a language in 30 days and be conversationally fluent? Which means you can hold a pretty basic, average, I'd say middle school or below conversation, which you'd be surprised how many words you know when you're in middle school, but middle school level conversation or below. And can you hold that for 15 minutes to a half hour? That's what I would consider conversationally fluent. That's what these apps are actually selling you, is conversational fluency, because obviously, again, being actually fluent is going to, on average, for most languages, take you 3 to 5 years, regardless of if it's English, Spanish, Mandarin, whatever it may be. It will take some actual significant time. So, conversationally fluent in 30 days. I've seen conversationally fluent in 1 day, 3 days, a week. And I'm here to tell you, sadly enough, at the beginning of this video, that is all bullshit. It is complete bullshit. I don't care what program it is. I don't care who it is. I don't care who's telling you. If it is your Aunt Josie or your Uncle Wayne, I don't know, whoever, it is not possible to be conversationally fluent in 30 days, let alone a week or a day or 2 days or whatever other bullshit people are trying to sell you. I hate when people try and sell people stuff that's just complete BS. And so same thing with like supplements and other like other items, other things that you can buy. I don't like people like have bullshit claims. So I'm gonna tell you right now, unfortunately enough, you cannot learn a language conversationally in 30 days. So right off the rip, I'm gonna tell you that's not true. But for the idea of this video, I wanted to give you an actual idea of how long it'll take and some apps or programs that I would recommend that you utilize. Obviously, for myself, I'm going to be speaking from the perspective of someone who wants to learn Spanish. I know, like, here in San Antonio, a lot of people already speak Spanish, or maybe you want to learn a different language. I don't know. Or maybe you're just watching this video because you want to know, But regardless of what your language goals are, I'm going to tell you that there's kind of a general way to go about it and kind of a general way to approach the topic. So, number one, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go through the actual apps and kind of like break down what I think about them. And then number two, kind of give you like realistic timeframes for different languages that I think is actually realistic and isn't bullshit. So right off the bat, very popular first app that everybody seems to like to use is the Duolingo app. Now, Duolingo is free, so it does get bonus points for being free. But I am going to tell you that Duolingo, as far as learning an actual language, is kind of dog shit. There's not a lot of ways around it. It is kind of just an app that is going to help you get some repetition in, maybe get like your feet, not even your feet wet, like your toes wet in a new language. But overall, in my humble opinion, whether you're doing the free version or the paid version, I don't think it's that helpful unless you're getting into very, very basic stuff, because I just feel like the app overall has not been that useful in my language learning process. I feel like I probably learned more in high school than I learned doing Duolingo. And also, people want to say, like, Duolingo, 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. That's bullshit. In my humble opinion, this is kind of like a side note. I told you this video's going to, like, kind of jump. So if you watch the whole thing, you'll get the whole idea. It's going to take you anywhere from a half hour to an hour a day to actually make consistent progress on learning a language. 5 minutes, 10 minutes is not going to cut it, because you're going to get frustrated. You're not going to remember stuff. You're not getting enough repetition. So I'm really going to recommend a half hour to an hour or more. If you can do more, then do more. But half hour to an hour a day is what you're going to be doing at a minimum. 5 minutes is not going to cut it. Just like 30 days, you're not going to learn a language. It's all bullshit. So Duolingo, free, yeah, but also not that great. I mean, I feel like for kids, maybe it's a little better. It's a little more like gamified. It's a little more like you have lives and games, stuff like that. So maybe for kids. An app that I do like that I feel like a lot of people haven't heard of, so free promotion for them, because I'm surely not getting paid. And don't call me Shirley. But honestly, I'm not getting paid for it, but it is called Fluent Forever. I like the app a lot. I did a lot of research for Spanish. So I can tell you right now, if you want to learn Spanish, I'm going to give you some good shit. Other languages, it applies as well, but for Spanish, this is like literally the path to success. So I can confidently tell you that Fluent Forever is really, really good. It is a great way to learn basic words, basic phrases, and the awesome thing is it's a flashcard based app, so it's space repetition method or system, which basically means that you get to see words or sentences or phrases like popping up again before you forget them. So if you have a word that you have down, like let's just say for example that you know the word red is rojo in Spanish, which I'm sure my pronunciation isn't perfect, but if you know that's the word for red in Spanish and you know that and you're never going to forget it, you might see it once every 2, 3, 4 weeks. You're not going to see it every day like other words that you may forget or not remember as well. So the flashcard portion I like. The other great thing about the app is you can actually use photos from Google. Like say you want to use like the word ball, which is pelota in Spanish, which I love that because it's one of the things they tell you in like the little videos too. The great thing about that is like you have the ability to pick any type of ball you want as a photo to make you remember. So when you see the ball, you're like, oh, there's a football, baseball, and a soccer ball. That is a ball. So what is the word for ball in Spanish? You put those things together, it works really, really well. Also, I feel like not only does it get you like your feet wet and really like start immersing you in Spanish or your language of choice, it really starts helping build sentence structure. So you're not just like learning words or sentences that are kind of just like stupid or redundant, and they have levels of difficulty. So if you're a beginner, it's going to be helpful. If you're intermediate, it's going to be even more helpful in my opinion, because you can choose the different sentences you want to use, put in different pictures. I really feel like that app really helps solidify a lot of words, phrases, and parts of conversation that I think were helpful. So I would say it's also like $10 a month. So I mean, $10 a month for an app that you can use as much as you want. And you can literally like type in words that you want to learn and they'll have sentences or at least the word. You put pictures in it. It's very, very intuitive for $10. I don't think you really can beat it. Another good app that I guess I would say like is below that app in like overall like usefulness is Anki. Anki is like a flashcard app as well. I don't think it's as intuitive. Putting pictures in it, it's kind of a pain in the ass. Making your own flashcards, kind of a pain in the ass. I think that if you want to do what you can do in Fluent Forever without paying for it, you can get the Honda Civic version of it if you go with Anki, and you can get the BMW version if you go with Fluent Forever. You're going to pay $10 a month though, and I mean $10 is what it costs for your Netflix. So if you're going to spend $10 on something, I would recommend it being Fluent Forever because it'll help you a lot. So Anki's not too bad either. It's a flashcard app, but it's just not going to be as intuitive. It's not as easy to use, and I don't think that it's as helpful in my humble opinion. From there, another one that I feel like a lot of people haven't heard of, and if you have heard of it, you might be a little bit older, but it is called Pimsleur. Another app you can download on your phone. I cannot remember the exact cost of Pimsleur off the top of my head. I think when I paid for it, it was like $20 a month, $19.99. And all it is audio and speaking. And I'm literally telling you, it's audio and speaking, audio and speaking. So like, yeah, with the other flashcard apps, they might pronounce the word for you. You might be able to pronounce it out loud. But with Pimsleur, it literally is all audio based. There's not very much text based at all. You have, like, for example, on my phone, it says, this is the word for this, or this is a basic greeting. Repeat it back. So you repeat it back, then they say it to you, then you repeat it back. And then they might ask you a question about like, how's your day? And you're like, oh, muy bien. And you're supposed to know how to respond based off of you learning earlier in the conversation with your phone or your tablet or whatever, that is the response that you would give. And I'm going to tell you, Pimsleur, not anything super complicated, super old school in my opinion, but what I can tell you that I like about it is that it forces you to start speaking your target language, which is what everybody uses if they're learning languages. Your target language, it forces you to start speaking it. I can tell you right now, I've met a lot of people that know other languages that don't feel comfortable speaking them, and if you don't feel comfortable speaking it or you don't want to speak it, then why the fuck are you learning it? So Pimsleur really pushes you to have to start speaking the language right away, because you literally, that's the whole app. I mean, if you didn't speak, you'd be spending each lesson's a half hour too. You'd be spending half of that half hour, 15 minutes not speaking. I know you're speaking to your phone or speaking to yourself, but I'm telling you, it forces you to get comfortable with. You can tell me with Duolingo or any of the other apps I listed, like you can speak it out loud or ask you to say it out loud, but like this app literally is meant to do that. So it'll force you to start speaking like quicker, out loud, in your target language, and I really feel like it's a great way to propel you forward. It's going to pretty much only be conversational things. They say conversationally fluent in 30 days. Their ads bullshit. I hate to say it because I actually like Pimsleur. Not getting paid by them either. but I do like their product because it makes you start speaking. Again, you're not going to be conversationally fluent in 30 days. Not going to happen. I used Pimsleur, and shortly after I started using Fluent Forever. Those two together, I still wouldn't have been conversationally fluent in 30 days, even if I did it at the same time. But combined together, you're going to have a really, really good, solid frame groundwork to start moving forward with. If I was going to tell you the next step, and this is kind of like a secret because a lot of people don't know about it, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know about all the other languages because I know for a fact that I know I'm pretty damn certain that there is probably other websites like this. So if you are wanting to learn Spanish, again, I have you set up with like the proper learning path, and I will guide you to take that plane off and land that plane. So what I'm going to tell you, in my humble opinion, is I'm sure that there's other websites that are very, very similar. But there's a website out there, and I don't use it anymore because I don't have time, and that's a terrible excuse, but it's true. And also, I kind of reached where I wanted to reach, and at that point in time, I was really spending money to have conversations that I could be having with people if I wanted, like if I got their email or their contact info, because I wasn't really learning too much anymore from being upside down. So there's a website, and it's called Baselang, and I'm sure that if you have already learned Spanish, maybe you've heard about it. If not, then not. I feel it's kind of a good, well-kept secret. And again, I'm sure if you Google it now or later, you will see that there are other languages. I'm sure you will find other like language learning platforms or apps or other things that are very, very similar that are going to be for your target language if it's not Spanish. And this one is literally just for Spanish. So why do I like this? Baselang is a platform, again, not sponsored by them at all. I know they have like a sponsor link where you can get a free month or some shit, but I'm not going to do that. So shucks. Somebody wants my free month. So literally what it is though, it's a platform where they have literally curriculum, and I would say like honest to God, it's like high school, college level curriculum for learning Spanish. You meet one-on-one with tutors who are from other countries. Usually they're from Venezuela, Colombia, Argentina, Peru, or once in a while from Brazil, and once in a while from Mexico. So it kind of depends, but usually it's from South America in reality. So the benefit to this is that you are literally not FaceTime, but you're Zoom calling with these people, and you're literally seeing them face to face, and you're talking back and forth. If you are a brand new beginner, then obviously you're going to let them know for your first class that you're a beginner, and they're going to probably talk to you as much in English as they possibly can. There are people on there who I can confidently tell you are more fluent in English than people that I have met here in the US. So there is someone out there who can work with you who speaks perfectly fluent English, even if you speak almost no Spanish. But again, what I can tell you about it is that it forces you to speak. It forces you to learn grammar, which, I mean, you don't really, in my opinion, need grammar as much to learn a language, but it's helpful to have some rules, pronunciation, basic stuff in mind. It helps you learn new words or get exposed to new words, new and different tenses that don't really necessarily always exist in English, so that's kind of a fun thing to learn if you're learning Spanish or any other language aside from English. English is actually not that hard. I'm going to tell you that right now. But it is a great way to be forced to talk to people, to be forced to interact, to have to speak, to learn new shit, and you're literally talking to native speakers who know all the rules for everything because they were brought up speaking Spanish. I can't say enough good things about Baselang. Like I said, there's no like referral thing that I'm going to get out of it, but the people that I met on there, the teachers themselves make that like program, make that platform worth it. It is more expensive. It is $150 a month, which sounds kind of crazy for a language learning platform, but you have unlimited access to it, unlimited classes. And I'm going to tell you right now, like the people on there are amazing. They're some of the nicest, most caring, patient people that I've met. I mean, I met a couple people on there who were kind of assholes. I'm not going to lie, that is going to happen. But for the overwhelming majority, they're very nice, caring, helpful people. And at the end of the day, they're going to help you and be patient and teach you stuff. And if you have questions, no matter how dumb they are, they're going to answer them. I literally have asked certain like professors or teachers the same questions 1,000 times, and they still have patience, and they're still friendly and still nice. And I'm going to tell you, it is probably the fastest way to learn a language. If I had done Baselang right off the rip or another like language learning app like that, I probably would have learned Spanish even faster to be conversationally fluent, but I did not. I did not go that route. So let me sum all this shit up and kind of tell you my recommendation. I'm going to say, if you are trying to learn a new language, and it's Spanish, French, German, Russian, Portuguese, other languages like that, where it's not like end of the world crazy, in my humble opinion, from my experience, I think that if you're putting in a half hour to an hour, a day or more of language learning, optimize those, the keyword being optimize, I believe that you can be conversationally fluent in a language in 6 months or less. If it is Cantonese or, Arabic, or what's the other word? There's other language, Korean, like Japanese, like really hard languages, you're looking at probably a year, year and a half, maybe even 2 years, because those languages are really hard to learn, not gonna lie. Sorry if that's what you want to learn. I thought I wanted to learn Arabic after Spanish, but then I learned it was gonna take me more time than what anybody else will ever tell you. One more like little tidbit about like length of time. Some people, it might take you 3 months. It might take you a year. You're going to hear people that are polyglots or whatever they're called, that are going to tell you, oh yeah, it took me, 3 weeks and I learned Spanish, or it took me 2 months and I learned Spanish. And it's like, yeah, dude, but like you learn languages, 10 languages, so you know how to optimize it even better than I do. You know the tricks, the tips, and you also like have other words you've learned from other languages that transfer over. So you're going to be quicker and faster about learning different things because you've learned 9 other languages before you learned Portuguese. So I think realistically 6 months is a realistic time frame. If I was going to tell you, if I was going to do it all over again, what would I do? I would tell you to jump right into Baselang. That's what I would tell you to do. I would tell you to find an app like that, find some one-on-one tutoring that's not going to break the bank, and do a half hour to an hour or more a day. Maybe on the weekends you do 2 or 3 hours. Like, it doesn't matter, it's unlimited. Spend that time for 6 months and you will be conversationally fluent in Spanish. If you are trying, if you are actually putting in the effort, if you are actually like giving a shit when you're in those classes, you will learn so much in 6 months, and I can literally guarantee you will be conversationally fluent in a language that's not super duper crazy. On the other side, maybe you're trying to dip your toe in, dip your foot in, you're kind of trying to test the waters out. I would recommend spending maybe 1 month and doing, Fluent Forever and Pimsleur for a month, maybe even a month and a half, 2 months. And yet again, do that for, I would say, an hour a day, 1 lesson of Pimsleur a day, and a half hour of Fluent Forever. And I can honestly tell you that after you get to that month and a half, 2 months in, that's when I would start up, like I said, like a one-on-one tutoring. And again, I'm going to tell you, I think even with 2 months of that, you're going to have a great foundation to start into like a program like that, like Baselang or one-on-one tutoring. And I think in 4 months, you could do the exact same thing as someone who does in 6 months. The person who does Baselang for 6 months, though, is going to have 2 more months of that same learning process, but it's all one-on-one versus you having to hold yourself accountable. So if you don't really want to hold yourself as much accountable, like, you still have to hold yourself accountable. But if you don't want to be as accountable for your own shit, then I would humbly recommend doing, like I said, one-on-one tutoring like Baselang or some other app, website that is going to be able to facilitate that for you. So to wrap everything up into one big, like, compiled thought, I'm going to tell you again that you are not going to be conversationally fluent in another language in a month. It's not going to happen. I don't care what someone says. I don't care how many hours. I went into trying to learn a language being like, I can do it in 30 days. It was during the pandemic. I'm going to put in 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day of Spanish, and I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to tell you, a month later, I spoke a lot of Spanish, but I wasn't conversationally fluent. 2 months in, 3 months in, I'm still doing 3-4 hours a day, almost 5-6 days a week. I spoke a lot of Spanish. I knew a lot of Spanish, but I still was not, in my opinion, conversationally fluent. 4 months, 5 months, I was like, damn, I'm getting pretty good at this. I can hold a conversation. 6 months in, I had people who were, having classes with me for the first time and like, oh, you've been speaking Spanish for a year, right? And I'm like, no, like, this is, almost 6 months, like, pretty conversationally fluent. There's still some words I can't remember or things that I don't ever say that I have to like look up real quick, and then I can throw the verb tense in there because I understand how the verbs work, so I can conjugate it. I just have to know what the verb is. So I'm going to tell you, am I fluent in Spanish? No. Do I want to be fluent in Spanish? To be honest with you, no. Am I really fluent in English? Do I know all the English words? No. Am I conversationally fluent, advanced for English? Yes, obviously, yes. But the goal for everyone, in my opinion, should be conversationally fluent. You should be able to have and hold a regular basic conversation, not just survive, but have like a regular conversation about day-to-day stuff, sports, movies, whatever things you like. And that's what I would say make your goal. Because realistically, to be conversational, you're going to understand and be able to speak 75 to 85, maybe even 90% of the language if you are conversationally fluent. The actual whole length of fluency, that other, 15 anywhere from 10 to 20% is going to be stuff that's going to take you significantly more time. And if you want to get there, go do it. But I'm just telling you, if you want to be conversationally fluent in almost any language, not the crazy ones. So again, like I said, if it's Chinese, Mandarin, which is the same thing, Korean, Japanese, Arabic, those are harder ones. It'll take you more time. I'm not as much of an expert in quotations for those languages. But again, if you want to be able to do it, you can do it in 6 months or less. Guaranteed, 100%. Literally done it. So that's what I have, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful for someone out there, and also hopefully you don't spend money on dumb shit or buy into what I did and get disappointed. I kept going because it was the pandemic when I first started doing this back in, I don't know, July, August, September, somewhere in there. It's been 6 months. But I got disappointed in my first month. I was like, oh, I thought they said I'd be conversationally fluent, but I'm not. So I'm telling you, don't get hung up on that. Don't get disappointed. Don't get discouraged because it's going to take more time. But if you have that realistic time frame of 6 months, if I bust my ass, I can be conversationally fluent in a language, then you can. Also, the thing I'm going to throw in there, one last thing, is if you make up excuses and you don't make the time, or you do it for a week and then you're off for a week, or you do it for a few days and you're off for a few days, you're not making consistent progress. That's not 6 months of you being consistent, so don't count that time because you're not being consistent. So you have to be consistently doing it, at least 6 days a week, hopefully 7, hopefully 8, 9, 10 days a week. You know what I mean? More time than an hour is what I'm trying to say. So that's what I got. If this video is helpful to you, or feel like it'll be helpful for someone else, someone will get something out of it, please feel free to share it. If you want to comment down below, if you have learned a language that's not your first language, then that'd be awesome. Tell me how much time it took you to get conversationally fluent or fluent. I would love to hear it. I know that I have a friend out there who is fluent in Mandarin. I believe that's the dialect that he speaks of. Chinese. I think it's Mandarin. And it took him, I think, 2.5, 3 years to get pretty damn fluent, like more than just conversational. So would love to hear other people's experiences on top of my own, which you've obviously already heard. So again, please feel free to share if you feel like it's helpful, if you feel like it'll help somebody, or if you know somebody who's trying to learn a new language, or if you're trying to learn a new language, if you want to share it, that'd be awesome. At the end of the day, the name of the game, my goal is to help 100 million people improve their lives in little ways as well as big ways. It could be something as small as you helped me learn a language a little bit faster because you told me about some shit that I did not know, or completely change someone's life, and that probably is not this video, maybe a different one, maybe the one I put out yesterday, I don't know. But again, if it's helpful, please feel free to share it. That's my name of the game. I don't want to ask people to subscribe or like because I feel like it's disingenuous. If you want to do that and support me, it's awesome. But again, I don't want everyone to ask people to do that because I hate when people do that shit and it drives me insane. I just want to shake them because I'm like, dude, please stop. I don't know how to explain it, but that's how I feel. So that's what I got. I'm going to answer some live questions right now over on Facebook Live and Twitch. And I also have a few questions on there already. If you guys do want to ask live questions where I can answer them, feel free to watch me on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and Saturdays usually it was in the noon time. It's probably gonna get pushed back to like 5 or 6. I'll let you guys know exactly the time. This Saturday will probably be the time that I finally decide what time it's gonna be consistently. But if you do want to ask questions, show up, ask them live. If you don't want to ask them live and want me to answer them anyways, then message me directly on any of the social media places. And that's pretty much what I got, guys. So for the YouTube people out there, the YouTube fam out there, I'll talk to you guys real soon. Stay healthy, stay safe, guys. Have a great night. Bye.